What if the secret to infinite, free fertilizer is growing right under your feet, and you've been told to pull it out and throw it away? It sounds like a wild conspiracy theory, but the truth is often stranger than fiction. For decades, we have been conditioned to believe that lush, productive gardens require expensive, toxic bags of synthetic chemicals, mined and manufactured by giant, greedy corporations who profit from your absolute dependence. Yet, right now, a misunderstood plant is likely trying to grow in your garden, possessing the rare, powerful biological machinery to generate endless fertility and supercharge your harvest. Most gardeners will never discover this ancient secret because it threatens the very existence and foundation of the agricultural-industrial complex. They call it a weed. History calls it a survival essential. By the end of this video, you will possess the forbidden knowledge to turn this pest into your most valuable asset, creating a closed-loop system that feeds your soil for years to come, completely eliminating the need for outside inputs. This single, powerful shift could redefine your entire homestead. Are you ready to finally uncover the truth they simply cannot afford for you to know? Every year, gardeners and farmers are told the same story. If you want to grow food, you need to buy fertilizer. The shelves are lined with brightly colored bags promising bigger tomatoes, greener lawns, and record-breaking harvests. But behind those promises lies a crisis that's quietly threatening our food security and the health of our planet. Fertilizer prices have soared to historic highs, driven by global supply chain chaos, political instability, and the rising cost of raw materials. For many, the dream of a self-sufficient garden is slipping further out of reach, replaced by anxiety over whether they'll be able to afford the next bag of nutrients. Meanwhile, the environmental cost is staggering. Synthetic fertilizers leach into waterways, fueling toxic algae blooms and dead zones that choke out life. They degrade soil health, leaving it dependent and lifeless year after year. The mainstream narrative insists there's no alternative. You need chemicals to grow food. But is that really true? What if the abundance you seek is already present, waiting to be unlocked by nature's own design? Imagine a world where your garden feeds itself, where fertility is generated on-site, and where you're no longer at the mercy of distant corporations or fragile supply chains. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's a reality that's been hidden in plain sight, suppressed by those who profit from your dependence. The truth is, nature has always provided a better way, one that's regenerative, sustainable, and shockingly simple. But why haven't you heard about it? Why are we told to ignore, or even destroy, the very plants that could set us free? The answer is as infuriating as it is empowering. In a moment, you'll discover the forgotten solution that could end your reliance on synthetic fertilizers forever. The crisis is real, but so is the opportunity, if you're willing to see what's been right under your feet all along. For generations, gardeners have waged war against a persistent plant, yanking it from the soil and tossing it aside without a second thought. It's been labeled a nuisance, a weed, a blight on the perfect garden. But what if this so-called pest is actually the key to unlocking infinite, self-renewing fertility? Meet Comfrey, a plant so powerful, it's been called nature's fertilizer factory. With roots that plunge deep into the earth, Comfrey mines minerals and nutrients that most plants can't reach, drawing them up and storing them in its lush, broad leaves. When those leaves are cut and returned to the soil, they decompose rapidly, releasing a rich cocktail of nitrogen, potassium, calcium, and trace elements. Everything your crops crave, delivered for free, season after season. But Comfrey's magic doesn't stop there. Its rapid growth means you can harvest it multiple times a year, each time producing a new batch of green manure or nutrient-dense mulch. It's the ultimate closed-loop system. No need for store-bought fertilizer, no dependence on outside inputs, just a cycle of abundance that builds healthier soil with every passing year. Yet, despite its incredible benefits, Comfrey has been systematically ignored, even vilified, by mainstream gardening advice. Why? Because it threatens the business model of those who sell you chemical solutions. If every gardener knew they could generate their own fertilizer endlessly, the multi-billion-dollar fertilizer industry would lose its grip overnight. Most people walk past Comfrey without a second glance, never realizing the treasure at their feet. It's a plant that's been used for centuries by traditional farmers and herbalists. Yet today, it's dismissed as irrelevant or even dangerous. The irony is almost too much to bear. The very thing we're told to eradicate is the solution we've been searching for. This is the forbidden knowledge that could transform your garden, your food supply, and your independence. But how does Comfrey actually work its magic? And why has it been so thoroughly erased from modern gardening wisdom? The answers will surprise you, and they're the next step on your journey to true self-sufficiency. Comfrey's secret lies in its extraordinary ability to tap into the deep reserves of the earth. Acting as a living nutrient pump, its roots can reach down several feet, far beyond the grasp of most garden plants, drawing up minerals like potassium, calcium, magnesium, and trace elements that are often depleted in topsoil. These nutrients are stored in Comfrey's thick, fast-growing leaves, which can be harvested multiple times each season. When you cut and lay these leaves as mulch or add them to your compost, they break down rapidly, releasing their bounty directly into the soil. This process creates a natural, closed-loop system, one where fertility is generated and recycled on-site year after year without the need for synthetic inputs. Contrast this with the chemical fertilizer cycle. You buy a bag, spread it, watch your plants grow, and then repeat the process as the soil becomes increasingly dependent and lifeless. Chemical fertilizers offer a quick fix, but they strip the soil of organic matter, disrupt microbial life, and leave you trapped in a cycle of constant purchase and application. Comfrey, on the other hand, builds soil health over time, feeding beneficial microbes, improving structure, and increasing water retention. It's a system that mimics nature's own design, where nothing is wasted and everything is connected. Imagine never having to worry about fertilizer shortages, price spikes, or supply chain breakdowns again. With Comfrey, your garden becomes self-sustaining, resilient, and abundant. The leaves can be used as a nutrient-rich mulch, brewed into a powerful liquid fertilizer, or added to compost to supercharge decomposition. Every part of the plant serves a purpose, and every harvest brings you closer to true independence. This is what's possible when you work with nature, not against it. But if Comfrey is so effective, why did we stop using it? What forces pushed this miracle plant out of the spotlight and into the shadows? The answer reveals a story of profit, power, and the deliberate suppression of natural abundance. A story that every gardener deserves to hear. The disappearance of Comfrey from mainstream gardening isn't an accident. It's the result of decades of calculated decisions by those who profit from dependency. In the early 20th century, as chemical agriculture took hold, corporations and policymakers began to push synthetic fertilizers as the only modern solution. Comfrey, with its ability to generate endless fertility for free, was suddenly inconvenient. It didn't fit the narrative of progress or profit. Instead of celebrating its regenerative power, authorities labeled it a weed, a relic of the past, or even a potential hazard. The message was clear: real gardeners buy their nutrients in bags, not from the earth itself. This shift wasn't just about money, it was about control. By convincing generations of growers that they needed to purchase fertilizer year after year, the agricultural industry created a captive market. The more people relied on chemicals, the more disconnected they became from the natural cycles that once sustained their land. Comfrey and plants like it threatened that model. They offered a path to independence, resilience, and abundance that couldn't be patented or monopolized. Regulatory agencies joined the campaign, raising concerns about Comfrey's invasiveness or its use in herbal medicine, further discouraging its cultivation. In some places, restrictions were even placed on its sale or propagation. The result? A collective amnesia about one of nature's most powerful allies. Gardeners who once relied on Comfrey to build soil and feed their families were told to forget, to trust the experts, and to follow the new rules. But the truth never fully disappeared. In quiet corners, permaculturists, organic farmers, and old-timers kept the tradition alive, passing down cuttings and stories of Comfrey's miraculous effects. Today, as the cracks in the industrial food system widen, more people are waking up to what's been lost and what can be reclaimed. The suppression of Comfrey isn't just a story of lost knowledge. It's a warning about the dangers of surrendering our self-reliance. The good news is you can break the cycle. The next step is to rediscover the ancient wisdom that made Comfrey a cornerstone of resilient, abundant gardens for centuries. Long before synthetic fertilizers and industrial agriculture, Comfrey was a cherished ally in gardens and farms across the world. Ancient Romans cultivated comfrey for its remarkable ability to heal soil and people alike, using its leaves to enrich their fields and its roots in traditional remedies. Medieval European farmers planted comfrey along the edges of their plots, knowing that its deep roots would draw up minerals and replenish tired earth. In Russia, comfrey was so valued that it earned the nickname boneset, a nod to its legendary healing properties for both land and livestock. Generations of homesteaders relied on comfrey to feed their animals, boost compost, and ensure bountiful harvests, passing down cuttings and knowledge as a form of family inheritance. This plant's reputation wasn't built on marketing or hype. It was earned through centuries of observation and results. Comfrey's lush growth and resilience made it a staple in cottage gardens, where nothing was wasted and every plant had a purpose. Its leaves were layered in compost piles, used as mulch, or steeped in water to create potent liquid fertilizer. Even in times of scarcity, comfrey provided a steady supply of nutrients, helping families weather droughts, poor soils, and economic hardship. Yet, as industrial agriculture rose to dominance, this ancient wisdom was pushed aside. The stories faded, replaced by glossy advertisements and promises of instant results. But in pockets of resistance, among permaculturists, organic growers, and those who never forgot the old ways, Comfrey's legacy endured. Today, as more people seek to reclaim control over their food and land, these traditions are being rediscovered and revived. The knowledge that once sustained entire communities is available to anyone willing to look beyond the mainstream narrative. The next step is learning how to identify, grow, and harness Comfrey's power for yourself, just as generations before you did. Identifying comfrey is the first step to unlocking its potential. Look for a plant with broad, hairy leaves, a deep green color, and clusters of bell-shaped purple, blue, or white flowers that bloom in late spring and early summer. Its robust stems and rapid growth make it stand out among other garden plants. Comfrey thrives in a variety of soils but prefers moist, well-drained ground and partial to full sun. Once established, it's nearly indestructible, returning year after year with minimal care. To grow comfrey, start with root cuttings or crown divisions, as seeds are rarely viable. Plant the cuttings about 2 inches deep and 2 feet apart, giving each plant plenty of space to expand. Water well during the first few weeks, and soon you'll see vigorous shoots emerging. Comfrey's deep taproots will begin mining nutrients from the subsoil, enriching your garden from below. It's a low-maintenance powerhouse. Just keep it watered during dry spells and watch it flourish. Harvesting comfrey is simple and rewarding. Once the plant reaches about 2 feet tall, cut the leaves back to a few inches above the ground. You can do this 3 to 5 times per season, depending on your climate. Use the fresh leaves as a nutrient-rich mulch around fruit trees, vegetables, or in your compost pile. For a potent liquid fertilizer, steep chopped comfrey leaves in water for several weeks. Then dilute the resulting comfrey tea before applying to your plants. The leaves break down quickly, releasing their bounty of minerals and feeding your soil's microbial life. Comfrey can spread if left unchecked, so consider planting it where it won't overtake delicate crops or use barriers to contain its roots. Share cuttings with friends and neighbors to build a resilient, local network of growers. Every harvest is a step toward independence, each leaf a gift from nature's own fertilizer factory. By learning to identify, grow, and harvest comfrey, you're not just reviving an ancient tradition. You're taking control of your garden's future. Next, let's explore the legal gray areas and potential risks, so you can cultivate comfrey with confidence and peace of mind. While comfrey offers incredible benefits, it's important to be aware of the legal and practical considerations that come with growing this powerful plant. In some regions, comfrey, especially Russian comfrey, has been labeled as invasive due to its vigorous growth and ability to spread rapidly through root fragments. Local regulations may restrict planting or require containment measures, so always check your area's guidelines before introducing comfrey to your garden. Responsible growers use root barriers or designate specific zones to prevent unwanted spread, ensuring Comfrey remains a helpful ally rather than a nuisance. Another concern sometimes raised is Comfrey's use in herbal medicine. Certain authorities have cautioned against internal consumption of Comfrey due to the presence of pyrrolizidine alkaloids, which can be harmful to the liver in large amounts. While this warning is primarily about medicinal use, it has contributed to Comfrey's controversial reputation and, in some places, led to restrictions on its sale or distribution. However, when used as a fertilizer or mulch, Comfrey poses no risk to your soil, plants, or food crops. Despite these challenges, Comfrey remains legal and widely grown in most areas, especially when managed responsibly. The key is to stay informed, respect local rules, and share best practices with your gardening community. By understanding the legal gray areas and potential risks, you can confidently harness Comfrey's power without running afoul of regulations or causing unintended problems. The next step is to see how real people have transformed their gardens and lives by embracing this remarkable plant, proving that the rewards far outweigh the risks when you approach Comfrey with knowledge and care. Across the world, gardeners and homesteaders are rediscovering Comfrey and witnessing remarkable transformations in their soil, crops, and self-sufficiency. Take Sarah, a backyard grower who struggled for years with depleted, lifeless earth. After planting Comfrey along her garden borders, she began harvesting the leaves for mulch and compost. Within a single season, her tomatoes doubled in size, and her soil became rich, dark, and teeming with worms. She no longer needed to buy expensive fertilizers. Her garden was feeding itself. Then there's Mark, a small-scale farmer who faced skyrocketing input costs and unpredictable supply chains. By integrating Comfrey into his crop rotation, he created a steady supply of nutrient-rich mulch and liquid feed. His yields improved, his costs dropped, and he found himself teaching neighbors how to propagate Comfrey and build resilient gardens of their own. Even in urban settings, Comfrey is making a difference. Community gardens in cities from Detroit to London are using Comfrey to revitalize neglected plots, turning barren ground into productive oases. The common thread in all these stories is empowerment. People taking control of their food and their future, one plant at a time. These real-life successes prove that Comfrey isn't just a relic of the past. It's a living solution for today's challenges. As more people share their experiences and knowledge, a new movement is taking root. One that values independence, abundance, and the wisdom of working with nature. Now, it's your turn to join this growing community and take action. Now that you've seen the proof, it's time to take action. This knowledge is useless if it stays on the screen. It only becomes power when you put it into practice. Start by finding a source for Comfrey root cuttings or plants. Check local gardening groups, permaculture networks, or trusted online nurseries. Plant it this season, even if it's in just one corner of your garden or a single large container. That first step is the most important one you'll take toward true fertilizer independence. Then, share this journey. Tell a neighbor, a friend, or a family member about Comfrey. Better yet, give them a root cutting. Resilience grows when we build networks, not just gardens. We want to hear your story. In the comments below, tell us, what's the biggest challenge you've faced in your garden? Have you tried Comfrey before? Your experience could be the inspiration someone else needs to begin. If this video opened your eyes to a new way of growing, do us a favor. Hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Every share spreads this forbidden knowledge further and weakens the grip of dependency. We're building a community here, a community of growers, thinkers, and independents. Your voice matters. So take that step, plant that root, and join us. The era of waiting for permission is over. The era of growing your own freedom starts now. You now hold the secret that most gardeners will never discover. The power to create infinite, natural fertilizer is literally at your fingertips. Comfrey isn't just a plant. It's a symbol of self-reliance, abundance, and the wisdom that comes from working with nature instead of against it. For too long, we've been told to depend on outside sources, to buy what we could grow, and to ignore the gifts that nature offers freely. But you have the chance to break that cycle, to reclaim control over your soil, your harvest, and your future. Imagine a garden that feeds itself, a community that shares knowledge and resources, and a world where abundance is the norm, not the exception. Don't wait for permission or validation from experts who profit from your dependence. Take action, plant Comfrey, and watch as your garden transforms into a living testament to what's possible. Share this knowledge, inspire others, and become part of a movement that's changing the way we grow. Your journey to true independence starts today.